Hello friends, I'm back, finally. Welcome to my live launch party for the new Stampin' Up! 2023-2024 annual catalog. Now, if my voice sounds a little hoarse and I'm still a little stuffy, that's because I'm still recovering from COVID. It hit me like a Mack truck and I was down and out of commission for the better part of 2 weeks. So I'm starting to get back to normal. I'm starting to get my energy back, but there is no way I was going to miss this live tonight. I am so excited to share the new catalog with you and to share some new products and new projects. I've got 6 make and takes to share with you tonight. Lots of samples to share with you. I was a very busy girl this past weekend. In fact, as of Friday of last week, I had exactly 0 made with the new products. So you can imagine I had a very creative weekend, shall we say, and got a whole bunch of crafting done and a whole bunch of samples made. So I'm excited to share them with you tonight. I have my water cup here. If I go into a coughing fit, don't worry, I'll be fine. I will try not to, but we're going to try and be on for about an hour and a half to share a bunch of new ideas and products with you. So I first want to say a huge thank you for all of the get well wishes while I was ill. It's really nice to be missed. It warmed my heart, really, to read all of your comments and get well wishes. So I so appreciated it. Thank you for taking the time to do that. For those of you who prayed for me, thank you. I certainly needed them. The first week was really rough. And thanks to some Paxlovid and a doctor who, stepped in and did what she needed to do, I am definitely on the road to recovery. So here we are. New catalog. Dun, da, da, da. There it is. I've got all of my stickies in here to share with you. So I've got lots to share. We're going to get to it. Now, before I do, a couple of things. 2 things that you're going to want to think about. One is if you decide to place an order this evening or before the end of the weekend, and you use the host code that I'm going to show you, it's also posted down, I guess it's down there in the video description. In my online store, I will send you a new embellishment from the new catalog. Now, I'm not saying which one because I've ordered a whole bunch and I'm just going to kind of pick and choose. So you're going to get a new embellishment if you place an order with me using my host code before the end of the weekend. Also, I have a giveaway. Now, as you may be aware, Stampin' Up! Is having some issues with shipping. It's not their fault. It's actually a good problem. They have had some really huge sales days this month, and they are way behind on shipping. So my order with the prize for tonight is not coming till Thursday. Oh, well, I will show you a picture of it in the catalog, and when it arrives, I will get it out to the winner. Okay, so how do you get in the running to win? Well, there's 3 ways you can comment on this video. The more you comment, the greater your chances, because I use a random comment picker. You can like and share. Okay, so 3 ways that you can get in on this draw. I will show you what I'm drawing for as soon as I flip the camera. But before I do that, I want to pull up my video here so I can see who is joining me. I feel so out of practice. I haven't done a live in 2 weeks and I just feel like I'm doing this for the first time here. All right, Deb is here, got her wish list ready. Hi, Kathy, Jen, Mavis, Krista, Sonia, welcome. Hi, Holly. Hi, Joyce, Kathy, Sandy, Terry. Welcome. Hi, Jean. Welcome. I'm so glad you all are joining me tonight. Now, I have to confess, I am a really big Toronto Maple Leafs fan, and tonight is the first game of the second round of the playoffs. And I know that may annoy some of you because I know I have some Habs fans in my followers, but I actually have the game on my TV in here on mute, just so I can kind of occasionally glance over and see how it's going. My husband is watching in the next room, so if you hear loud yells after the Leafs score, that's probably a good thing. So just giving you that heads up. All right, let's flip the camera and we're gonna get to it. Wow, where's the flip button? It's been so long. There it is. All right, let's do the old flipperoo. There we go. You can see my notes here beside me. I've got my list of everything I want to talk about and my catalog all stickied up. But before I go any further, again, here is the host code that you can use when placing your orders. You're going to enter that at checkout. Here is a link to my online store. Okay, so if you want to do some shopping or get your wish list together, I'm going to close out this order on Sunday night, okay? Probably Monday morning. I'll give it to the end of the weekend. So if you get your order in before Monday morning, you'll be receiving a free embellishment, okay? Now, my giveaway tonight is a host exclusive set. So these sets on the second last page of the catalog can only be purchased with Stampin' Rewards. So I am giving away the beautiful Calm and Quiet stamp set. So if you have your catalog, you can flip to page 172. I had expected to have it in hand to show you, but I don't. It'll be here Thursday. But this just reminds me of sitting on a dock up in Muskoka in the summer at my parents' place. So it's a beautiful set, and that is my giveaway this evening. Okay? All right, so again, how do you get in on the giveaway? Comment, like, and share. The more you comment, the greater your chances of being chosen because I use a random comment picker. All right? Okay, let's get to it. To start, I am going to show you some of my must-haves. So these are things that were not on the pre-order, but things that actually went on my first order this morning that I put in very, very early. So I'm going to start by showing you those, and then we're going to get into new colors and all kinds of stuff. So let me show you a few things that I absolutely had to have. So first of all, on page 23, we have this beautiful handmade hug stamp set. So this coordinates with a punch that we already have that is in my stash. And I love that I'm going to be able to stamp and punch out these decorative tags and that all of these sentiments are going to fit inside that. So that was a must-have for me. We'll get rid of that sticky. I'm working my way through. I have different colored stickies for different things. Now, the Zucchero set is in that order that's coming on Thursday. I had hoped to have it in time to make some samples to share with you, but that was not to be. So that's okay. But it is another must-have. And why is it a must-have? Well, I don't know if you noticed, but there are instrument playing animals in this DSP. We have a flute playing frog. We have a bongo playing beaver. We have an accordion playing bear. We've got, looks like, I think this is like a, I don't know, wildebeest maybe playing the banjo. We got a singing turtle. So obviously, as a music teacher, I had to have this set. So it is coming. You will see that featured in an upcoming Tuesday Live at 5. But that is a fantastic, adorable suite that I absolutely had to have. All right, let's move on. All right, next one is Hey Chuck. You may remember the Hey Chick stamp set and bundle that we had a couple of years ago. Well, this one's a little bit more rough around the edges, shall we say. So Hey Chuck, Rooster, love these guys. They're just so fun. And then, of course, we have coordinating dies. So what's not to love about that? So that is also on my order that went in this morning. And as we roll along, here is another one. Now, this one is going to be featured in an upcoming online class. Again, it's coming. When I get back from my trip from Norway, my June newsletter, you will see some information about an online class coming up. So this is the Timeless Arrangements bundle. So the stamp set is lots and lots of sentiments, few images, and then we have these amazing dies. Again, they're on their way, and I'm going to be featuring them in an upcoming class. So that was another must-have. This, by far, it was my top of the list. Absolutely had to have the Earth and Elegance suite. I absolutely am fascinated by this DSP. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I want to touch it. It looks like it's so textured. I want to handle it because I know it's not, but it looks like it is. It's smooth, photographic DSP with these amazing pottery textures in them, and I just cannot wait to play with that. Not to mention the fact we have this beautiful sort of boho style stamp set and then some incredible dies. So you are going to see that one featured very, very soon, probably after my trip to Norway, because this stuff won't be here before I go, but you will see that coming up. All right, next I had to have this one. My mom is a huge fisher person. They live on a lake up in Northern Ontario, and she spends every evening from as soon as the ice goes out of the river until the ice freezes in the river in the fall. She is fishing every night. That is her thing. And so this suite I absolutely had to have for her. I know it's kind of geared towards men, but there are an awful lot of fisher women out there for whom this will be perfect. So that was an absolute must-have for me as well. Rolling along, I wanted to highlight another stamp set that coordinates with an existing punch. So this Layering Leaves stamp set is a Million Sellers set. It's Rachel Tessman's $1 million set, and it coordinates with the Bow Punch, which we've had for a couple of years. And I love the fact that we now finally have this stamp set that coordinates, so we can stamp all these beautiful leaves and punch them out super quick and easy. And how gorgeous are the fonts in this? I absolutely love those fonts. So that's another must-have. And then second, very close second to my Earth and Elegance, top of my list, was this Masterfully Made suite. Again, amazing photographic DSP that, like, again, these flowers look so real. I want to touch them. They're amazing. And again, I can't wait to play with this. In fact, I'm hoping, I actually expedited this one. I'm hoping that it arrives in time for me to use it for my swaps for the incentive trip. So that's another must-have. And then I just wanted to highlight all of the new specialty paper. We have a ton of new specialty paper. This all went on my list this morning, on my order this morning, because it does not, you can't tell what this stuff looks like in the catalog, right? This does not do justice to our gorgeous papers. So I have ordered all of these, and they're on their way, actually, shipped today. And well, tracking says it's going to be here Thursday. I'll believe it when I see it. FedEx has never ever come through for me, but we'll see. So gorgeous specialty papers. And then I'm actually gonna hold off on this because this coordinates with a suite that I'm going to be featuring in a little bit. And then one last couple of must-haves here. We have some fantastic new dies that are standalone dies. So they're not part of a bundle. They're not part of a suite. We have this beautiful paper florist dies that allows you to make 3D paper flowers. So excited about that. This gorgeous Petal Patterns die. This is like a background die. There's both a solid and a detail die. And then this so cool Patchwork Pieces die. I am super excited about all three of these. And of course, they're on my order. So there we go. That's kind of a quick little tour through some of the must-haves that I have found already that I have ordered from this new catalog. But for now, we're going to talk new colors. So I'm going to set my catalog aside for now, and we're going to talk about the new in colors. The new in colors are, well, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on the new in colors. I've had some people say they don't like them. They're not their style. They like pastels, or they like brights. They don't like the earthy tones. Totally fine. But my mission is to change your mind. I love brights. Brights are my thing. But I have to say that these like rich earthy tones, I absolutely am falling in love with. And I've had some time to play with them this weekend. And the more I play with them, the more I adore them. So here we go. Boho Blue, Moody Mauve, Pebble Path, Copper Clay, and Wild Wheat. Now, I've had some people tell me they think this looks like baby poop. I probably agree with you. I've changed my share of diapers. However, I gotta tell you, this is quickly becoming my favorite. It is a beautiful gold, and it works so well as a neutral that I'm actually using this more than, actually these two. These are the two that I have used more than any others so far, which is not what I would have expected. I would have thought I would not gravitate towards the Boho Blue and the Moody Mauve. So you just never know. Once you start playing with things, it's amazing how your tastes change. So those are our 5 new in colors. Now, of course, in addition to the cardstock, we have a new pack of in color DSP. So new patterns. So there's our Boho Blue. Okay, so we've got polka dots and we've got dashes or stripes. And then on the reverse side, we've kind of got hand-drawn stripes. And then this one is kind of fun because it looks like sort of an animal print, but when you look closely, it's actually hearts. So I kind of love that. It's a neat little pattern. So there's our Boho Blue. There is our Moody Mauve, our Pebbled Path, our Copper Clay, and our Wild Wheat. Okay, so there is our new in color DSP. And then of course we have our embellishments. I'll start with the ribbon. Sorry about the coughing. This ribbon is really beautiful. It reminds me a little bit, if you are a sewer and you know your fabrics, it reminds me a little bit of a crepe, like a wool crepe. It's not quite as heavy as a wool crepe, but it's got that same kind of texture. It's really quite lovely. Now it is a little bit bulky when you try to tie a bow. So I'll just quick tie a bow here and I'll show you what I mean. So you certainly can tie a bow, but it's going to be bigger. You're not going to get a smaller scale bow. So you want to make sure if you're planning to use a bow with this ribbon, you're going to want to design your card in such a way that it can handle a larger scale bow. But it certainly does pull, you know, you get a nice tight knot, and it is lovely, lovely ribbon. So that is the Moody Mauve, and of course, Pebbled Path. We've got Wild Wheat, Copper Clay, and Boho Blue. And of course, look at the coordination. Everything matches. That is what I love about Stampin' Up. That is what sold me on Stampin' Up when I first started, or when I first discovered them. The fact that my paper coordinated with my ribbon, which coordinated with my ink, and I didn't have to worry about stuff clashing. So I love that about these products. So those are in color products. Of course, we have embellishments. I've used a ton, but we get this sheet of these sort of glossy dots. They come in 3 sizes, which is perfect because we tend to use 3 on a project. So we get 3 different sizes, a large, a medium, and a small. And of course, they're in each of the 5 in colors. So those are our new in color products. We also have coordinating Stampin' blends, one for each, or a set for each color, and our new ink pads, our new Stampin' Right markers, just so much awesomeness in the in colors. Now, let me show you the in colors on a project. So I posted these yesterday. So here are some cards that I made using the Cheerful Daisy, or yeah, Cheerful Daisy is the suite. And I absolutely love all 5 of these. They all have a very different mood depending on the color. But I'm just loving the shades of these in colors, and of course the coordination, right? Now the paper that I used on the background is from the Cheerful Daisy DSP, and I will show you that in a little bit. I did emboss it using the painted texture embossing folder, and I just love the way that those came out. So there's one sample for the in colors, and then I did another one. I actually did several. You're going to see a few tonight. I was having fun with these in colors. Posted these earlier today. So using the Circle Sayings bundle, you're going to see more from that as well later on. This one allowed me to use the Stampin' blends, and just to highlight the fact that they absolutely coordinate, right? So there's our cardstock, DSP, embellishments, ribbon, Stampin' blends, ink. You got the whole package there. Okay, super cute, super fun stamp set. All right, let's move on to a suite. So we're going to talk about the Cheerful Daisy suite first, because it is the suite that features all of our new in colors. So you've seen the new colors. Now I'm going to show you them in combination on our beautiful DSP. So to start, let me highlight first the bundle, because it's kind of the focal point of all of our suites. So the Cheerful Daisies bundle, we've got layering images. So these 2 will layer, these 2 will layer, these 2 will layer. We've got some cute little sentiments. And then of course, coordinating dies, both open dies that cut out the stamped images, but then we have some detail dies that cut out various shapes, and a cute little label shape. So that is the bundle. And then, let me get this out of the way. We have our gorgeous DSP. Now, these are stylized images, right? These are hand painted. As you've probably seen before, Stampin' Up! Designers actually hand paint all of our DSP. It's not a photo, it's not photoshopped, it is a hand painted canvas. And so these gorgeous patterns have been hand painted by one of the designers at Stampin' Up! And they're just amazing. So there's a cute little daisy pattern. There's another one, and another one. This one reminds me of the Rebecca that grows in my garden at the end of the summer. And then this one is similar to a few other DSPs that we've been seeing from Stampin' Up! In the last couple of catalogs, in that we can cut these panels out to use them as focal images on our cards. And I'll show you some samples in a couple minutes that have used some of these. But I love that, because you just cut them and there's your background ready to go, right? Really great. But honestly, as much as I love these patterns, what I'm using more are these fantastic washes on the back. So we have a wash in each of the in colors. So there's our Moody Mauve, there's Pebbled Path, Wild Wheat, Copper Clay, and Boho Blue. And then we get this bonus one with some Garden Green and Pretty Peacock. So just gorgeous washes. And I gotta say, like, I am using these ones. You're gonna see these a lot tonight because I love those washes. All right, so let's get that out of the way. And we also have coordinating embellishments in this suite. Again, I've used several of these. These are called adhesive backed solid gems. And they come in the copper clay, boho blue, and daffodil delight, which are the colors that are in the DSP. Okay, so that is our suite. Now let me show you some samples and then we're going to make one. Okay. So here is one. So this is one of those panels from that sheet that had several different panels on it. So I cut out the panel, added some layering, colored my daisies with my Stampin' blends. This is all wild wheat. How beautiful is wild wheat with pretty peacock? Is that not a gorgeous, gorgeous color combination? Like, I'm going to use this a lot. I love it. It looks gold with the pretty peacock, and it's just a gorgeous combination. Here's another wild wheat sample. This time I've used it with Early Espresso as my neutral, and I just love the way they play off of each other. I tried to mimic the background with my die cut daisy and used just a portion of one of the sentiments for, I just fussy cut it out for my sentiment on this card. So thinking it would be a lovely sympathy card. Okay. And then here's another one. Love the Moody Mauve, and I love it with, again, there's that wild wheat. Look, 3 projects I made with this suite, and they all use wild wheat, which was one that I was not sure that I was loving, but obviously I do. It's beautiful. So there's another one. Just used an extra little bit of DSP on the inside. Okay, now we're going to make a card using this suite. So let me pull in my supplies here. Sorry, after I take a sip of water. I'm going to apologize again for the coughing. I hate coughing on video. I hate listening to people cough on video, so I'm trying to limit it, but sometimes I don't have a choice. All right, so here's the card we're going to make. Features more of that beautiful DSP and some of our die cuts. So to start, I'm going to pull out the DSP. So this uses the rip and flip trick. You've probably seen me do this on videos in the past. And it's a great way to have no waste. So I cut my DSP to 4 by 6. Okay, so it's basically a 1/6 of a piece of 12 by 12 DSP. And I'm just going to take and I'm going to tear it, I don't know, about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 up from the bottom edge. So I'm just going to tear straight across, or relatively straight. And then all I do is flip it over and layer it. So, and I can decide if I want to see more of the green or I want to see more of the pattern. Doesn't really matter. You can decide which you prefer, but when I overlap them, I end up with my 5 1/4 inch height panel. All right. So we're going to go ahead and glue this down because we're going to add our ribbon. So to glue this, and you see the bottom corner? Yeah, you can. Okay, so I've got my ruler here on my grid paper, and I'm going to put my piece flush in the corner on the ruler. And then I think I want more of the daisies showing rather than the green. So I'm going to tuck this in behind. And I'm lining the edges up along that bottom edge, and then I'm also lining the right edge up at the 5 1/4 inch mark. So that when I glue it is going to give me my 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel. So I'm going to take and just add a little bit of liquid glue here. Not a ton. I'm just kind of tacking this. I don't really need to make it super secure. By using liquid glue, it allows me to kind of have a little wiggle time. So again, I'm going to line up my larger panel. I'm going to lift up the bottom, slide this guy underneath. And again, I'm just lining up that right edge. Whoops, don't move. That right edge with the 5 1/4 inch mark. Okay, and then I have my background panel. Easy peasy, right? Okay, now I have a little bit of copper clay in color ribbon. We're gonna go ahead and add that. And on this one, I actually had my green. I didn't tear quite as much of the green, so my green was at the top. You can see a little bit of the torn edge there. This time, my green's in behind, so we're gonna see a little bit of the torn edge below. Doesn't matter, both looks work. My mouth is not necessarily working correctly tonight either. So I'm going to add a glue dot to both ends of my ribbon here. And we're going to just lay that across. I just want to be able to see a little bit of that torn edge. I like that bit of detail, that bit of texture. Just want to make sure my ribbon is straight. Okay. And then I have a pretty peacock who is thrilled that this in color came back. This was one that I absolutely adored when it was in color. In fact, it is the accent color in my kitchen. I loved it so much. So this piece is cut to 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we're gonna fold that in half along our score line. Oh, you like those cards? Thank you, Terry. Thanks. All right, I like that ripped look too, Carrie. I really, it just adds a little bit of texture. So I'm gonna go ahead now and add, and look how pretty it is on the other side. Like the other side totally works too. So yeah, it's kind of a fun little trick. And again, a great way not to waste DSP, right? Because we're not gonna have that little scrap from cutting our 5 1/4 inch panel. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and glue this onto our card base. Whoops. I just put my glue on the wrong side. Okay. Did I mention that I'm not fully recovered from COVID yet? Okay, this is going to be a different look. We're going to take our ribbon off. And we're going to flip it around so that this is going to be the front. And like I said, this side totally works too. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to prove that it works. Except we need a little bit more adhesive here. So we'll stick this on. We're going to add this. I should not apply adhesive and talk at the same time, clearly. There we go. Okay, so we're going to have a different look, which is totally fine. I could actually have gotten rid of all that adhesive, but I don't have the time. So here we go. Opposite card fronts. Okay. All right, so now let's pull in our other little bits. I've already die cut all of our bits and pieces. So I have my 2 solid daisy images, and I'm going to stamp the centers of my daisies using some Daffodil Delight ink. So I'm just going to move these out of the way so I have room for my ink here. And we'll ink this up. Now, I always find it helpful to kind of get my piece on to get an idea of where the center is going to be. So it's going to kind of be like right there. So I'm going to stamp in the center-ish. And then again, I'm going to stamp sort of the top of my profile daisy there. And then my detailed pieces, I actually have some adhesive sheets on the back. You can get away with just liquid glue, but I just thought it would be quicker and easier tonight to use the adhesive sheets. And then these guys layer. Okay, there we go. We're going to try and get our center centered. There we go. And where's my other one? There it is. Let's put this guy on. If I could peel it off. There we go. We'll pop this one on. Right about there. So there are our 2 daisies. Okay. Now on my white circle here, I'm going to stamp my stem and my leaf in some pretty Peacock ink. Well, yes, we always can find a way to make an oops work, can't we, Jen? That's what we do. Like I said, I have a solution for every mistake because I've made every mistake. All right, so I'm stamping a couple of stems on my circle here, and then I'm going to bring in my leaf, and I'm going to add a couple of leaves here. We'll do one this way, and one coming up this way, and we'll do one kind of in the middle here as well. Okay, there are my leaves. So then we're going to go ahead and glue our daisies on. So our large or full daisy is going to go in the backgrounds. We're going to add a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let's glue this onto our pretty peacock circle first. I should mention this is a, what size is it? 2 3/8. This is punched with the new 2 3/8 circle punch. You're going to see that in action in a little bit. And then this is layered on a 2.5 inch circle. So we're just going to stick that one on down, and then we're going to glue our daisy. So we'll add that one. This guy is actually going to get popped. So I'm going to use a couple of mini dimensionals. You got it, Jen. There are only opportunities to develop our creativity when we make a mistake. It's pretty rare that I have to actually throw out a mistake. I usually can somehow resurrect it. Okay, so there are our daisies. Now we're going to add, I love this little fern die cut. We're going to add that to the back of our circle here. So this is cut from Copper Clay ink. We'll just have that sort of peeking out the back. Excuse me for the coughing. And then we're going to pop that. And actually, look how pretty the daisies really pop against that green background. Look, it's a happy accident. I actually quite like that. So here we go. Let's add a couple of dimensionals to the back of our circle here. And we're going to pop this on. right about there. Okay, and then here is that cute little label. Is that not adorable? It looks like a little ticket. And we're gonna stamp our oopsie daisy, perfect sentiment for this card. All right, so let's get that stamped. I'm stamping this in Copper Clay ink. Another combination I love is Copper Clay and Pretty Peacock. Pretty Peacock is gonna be going with a lot of these ink colors, I think. So let's get these out of the way. We're gonna pop this one on, right about there. So another couple of dimensionals. And a little bit of tape where it's gonna overlap our circle. Uh-oh, I just looked at the score. I shouldn't have looked at the score. Florida has already scored. That's not a good thing. Anyway, we're not gonna look again. So there we go. And then, oh, I didn't bring any linen thread. Never mind, it's right here. Linen thread, we're gonna add a cute little bow. So when you get linen thread, see how it kind of coils? It can be a little bit annoying to work with. All I do is take my thumb and my bone folder and kind of get rid of some of that coil, and it makes it a little bit easier to tie. Okay, so if you find, especially as you get towards the end of the roll, the coils get quite tight, and it can get a little bit frustrating to try to tie a neat and tidy bow. So try that little trick to get rid of some of the coil in your glue dots. So we're going to go ahead and add that little bitty, where's my glue dots? They're there. Little bitty bow. So when I'm using a single twine bow like this with a really teeny knot, what I do is I cut a glue dot in half and I roll it into my little glue booger here, and we pop that where we want our bow to go. And then it's nice and small, and I can press the knot of my bow into my glue dot. I'm just going to trim the tails a little bit there. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to grab some of those fantastic embellishments, and we're going to add a couple of the Copper Clay to our project. So we're going to change up our positioning here because we changed the design of our card, which is just how things roll, right? We're going to put one down here and call it a day. There we go. So 2 different looks for the same products. Okay, there you go. Make and take number 1. Let's hope that the rest go a little bit more smoothly than that one did. And then I make fewer mistakes as we go. All right, did I mention it's been 2 weeks since I did a live? I'm a little out of practice. All right, let's get that out of the way. So we're gonna move on to a new product. Let me just check. Oh yes, we're gonna look at new colors. So as you probably have heard, Stampin' Up! Has had a color refresh with this new catalog. So every 5 years or so, Stampin' Up! Freshens up our core color families by retiring some of our colors that are maybe a little bit dated or kind of fallen out of style, and brings in new, fresh colors that are more on trend. So we have a ton of new colors. Some of them are returning in colors from the past, as is the case of Pretty Peacock. You've already seen that one. And some are brand new. So I've got all of the new colors, and I'm also going to show you some past and current colors for some color comparisons. Okay, so first of all, we have Lost Lagoon. This is a former ink color from a while ago. In fact, I didn't still have my any Lost Lagoon products. I had sold them off quite some time ago. But this is a beautiful sort of aqua color, and it is going to fill the hole that Soft Succulent has left. And you're going to see in just a second. Here is Soft Succulent. Okay, so this is the in color that just retired yesterday, and here is Lost Lagoon. Lost Lagoon's a little bit more blue, but it is going to fill that hole quite nicely. I am not going to miss Soft Succulent as much as I thought I would, because Lost Lagoon is a really good substitute. And then I also have some Mint Macaron just for comparison. So you can see Soft Succulent looks very, very gray. Why am I so shadowy tonight? Wow, I'm just looking at the camera there. I'm really shadowy. I don't know why. We've got our Soft Succulent, which is quite gray, the Lost Lagoon, which is a little bit more blue, and then the Mint Macaron, which is decidedly green. So Mint Macaron and Soft Succulent are no longer. So we have Lost Lagoon for our sort of mid bluey green. So that is a new color. And then we have Pretty Peacock, as you've already seen. So here is our new returning in color. This has not been retired for all that long. And then again, I've got some additional colors for comparison. So here is our Bermuda Bay, just retired yesterday. Okay. Here is Coastal Cabana and Pool Party. So you can see, and I should actually bring in, let me pull in the Lost Lagoon as well, so you can see how it fits in. So there's Lost Lagoon on top, Pool Party, Coastal Cabana, Bermuda Bay, and the new Pretty Peacock. these two colors are really like each other. Like those two colors are going to be wonderful together. Okay, so there are those ones, and then we're going to move on to some greens. So our new green is Lemon Lime Twist, which again is not really new. It's a returning in color from a few years ago. Was one of my favorites at the time, and I'm quite excited to see it back. Now, when I initially thought, oh, it's really close to Granny Apple Green. Well, maybe not. Here's Granny Apple Green. Very much more yellow and very much brighter than Granny Apple Green. Granny Apple Green has always been my kind of bright green, my go-to. I think Lemon Lime Twist is going to unseat it. And then, of course, we have Parakeet Party, which is even brighter, sort of limey green. So we've got the lime, sort of the lemon, and then the Granny Apple. And then here's Soft Seafoam. Looks almost white next to these vibrant colors. And then here is the recently just retired Pear Pizzazz. So I can tuck that in behind. So here, I'll put that next to the Lemon Lime Twist so you can see the comparison there. All right, so Lemon Lime Twist is a fantastic yellow green that fits just perfectly in between our Granny Apple and Parakeet. So nice addition to our greens. And then continuing sort of in the bluey greens, we have Azure Afternoon. Love this sort of medium sky blue. Comparing it to Tranquil Tide. Tranquil Tide. Blueberry Bushel, which is another returning in color, and Pacific Point, just retired. Okay, so you can see this is going to kind of fit in between these ones. Here is Balmy Blue, and then we have Misty Moonlight, which is another returning in color. So we have two returning blues and a new blue. Okay, this one has just retired. That's our Pacific Point. Okay, but love Misty Moonlight. Has so much gray in it. It's a very moody gray blue. Works beautifully with our in colors. It's got that same sort of earthy kind of vibe. All right, so moving on to yellows. Lemon Lolly, love the name. First of all, I love saying that. And I love the soft, buttery sweetness of this yellow. Here are our other two yellows. So we've got Crushed Curry, Daffodil Delight, and then there's our Lemon Lollies. So just a bright, fresh, soft yellow. Absolutely love it. You're going to see that in action on a couple of projects tonight as well. Moving on to pinks. We have needed a soft pink for so long. I am thrilled to see the Bubble Bath. It is just such a fantastic soft shade of pink. Comparing it, here is Blushing Bride. This was our soft pink up until today. Look at the difference. Okay, Blushing Bride looks very, very brown compared to the Bubble Bath. This is so much better. And I love Blushing Bride, don't get me wrong. I love this color, but when I compare it to this just, oh, so beautiful. So Blushing Bride is out. Let's get that out of there. And then to compare it with our other purples, we have Fresh Freesia and Highland Heather. And how beautiful is that color palette? So you don't have to like purple to love this palette. It's so pretty. All right. And then we have Berry Burst. Really fantastic magenta. Again, not too long ago retired in color. And then when we pair it with Melon Mambo, we can see this is quite a bit more purple. This is our just retired Rich Razzleberry. So again, much more vibrant here. And then there is our Blackberry Bliss. So if I put these three, how yummy is that as a color combination? So love those colors. You're going to see those from me, guaranteed. And then finally, we have our new Pecan Pie. So there's Pecan Pie. And it kind of replaced Soft Suede. So let me put those two side by side. There's Soft Suede that just retired, and there is Pecan Pie. So Pecan Pie is more brown. Soft Suede had a lot of green in it. So the Pecan is a much warmer brown than the Soft Suede. And of course, it fits quite nicely in between our other two browns, the Early Espresso and the Crumb Cake. So a really great palette of browns that we have now. Of course, we also have the new in-color browns to add to that as well. So there we go. All right, so those are our new colors. And again, I forgot to show you in the catalog where, see, I already forgot something. There's our Cheerful Daisy suite that I forgot to show you. It's on page 111. You can get the entire suite, which has the DSP, the bundle, and the embellishments for $100.75 here in Canada. Okay, so you don't get a discount if you buy them all the pieces together, but it just makes ordering easier because it's just one item number. Okay, so that is our daisies, and then our new color suite that features all of the new core colors is Bright and Beautiful. And we have needed balloons for quite some time. We have not had anything with balloons for a couple of years now, which makes doing birthdays a bit of a challenge. So I'm very excited to see this suite. I'm going to show you all the products up close and personal. But again, we have 6x6 DSP, some fantastic acetate. I'm going to show you that in action in a minute. And then, of course, our beautiful bundle. Okay, and this suite, you can get the whole thing for $101.25. Okay, so let me show you the products up close and personal. As soon as I grab them, they're behind me. All right, so here is our bundle. So we've got lots of balloons, lots of fun celebratory sentiments, not just birthdays. Balloons can be for other things beyond birthdays. So I love that there's, you did it, yay you, congratulations, thrilled for you. I love that we have some variety in the sentiments. Lots of great images. And then of course our coordinating dies. So we have again our open dies. This one doesn't actually coordinate with any particular stamp. It is intended to be a window for shaker cards. Okay, so that is kind of cool. And the other thing you can do is use it as a label to stamp your sentiments on. So kind of neat there. But my favorite die, the one that absolutely sold me on this bundle, is this one. And it looks like nothing. It looks like a comb. This is a die that cuts a fringe. And you're going to see that on the make and take we're going to do in a minute. One pass through and you get perfectly fringed, even cuts. Fantastic. Got to be using that one a lot. So that's our bundle. Gonna get that out of the way. And then we have two different papers. So I'm going to show you the acetate first. So we have three, and some of this has been used. I only had one pack. So some of this is, they're all 12 by 12 sheets, but I only have bits of some. So we've got polka dots, we've got stars, and we've got confetti. So gold on one side, and when you flip it over, you've got silver. So that's the great thing about this acetate. It'll work with a gold or a silver color scheme. Okay, hard to see acetate on a video, I know, but I'll show you some projects that use it in a minute. And then we have our gorgeous 6x6 DSP. So this features all of our new colors. Okay, so first off, let me show you all the patterns. We've got stars. I love this sort of ombre look. Some stripes, confetti, more stars, scallops, some swirls, some bokeh, rainbow stripe, oops, bubbles, another rainbow stripe, and a herringbone. Okay, so that is the pattern side. But then when I flip these over, we get more sort of ombre washes. So these are the patterns that I tend to use the most because they're fantastic, easy backgrounds that add texture without any effort. So we've got the washes, and then we've got these sort of ombre looks. There's some yellow stars. This is our lemon lolly. There's our pretty peacock. There's our misty moonlight, lost lagoon. There's azure afternoon, berry burst, bubble bath, and some navy for good measure. No, that's actually blueberry bushel. It's not navy. So it has all of our new core colors, which is a great way to get like a pack of DSP that has all of the new core colors without having to buy individual packs of everything. Okay, so that is the Bright and Beautiful DSP. Now let me show you a couple of projects and then we're going to make one. So first off, we have this one, super simple. Uses, there's that gorgeous lemon lolly, but it is a fun little shaker card, and there's our fringe. So I used the fringe as the anchor for my shaker. Really quick and easy card to put together, thanks to that die that cuts the fringe. Okay, so there is our shaker, or sorry, easel. Did I say shaker? I meant easel. Sorry, guys. Speaking of shakers, though, here's a shaker. I was probably looking at that when I was showing you this. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. So made a fun little shaker card. Love that bubble pattern in the background. And then I used the tag as my label for my sentiment and did this one as a more congratulations card with some fun sequins for my shaker filler. And then here is a card where I use acetate for the base. Just adds that extra bit of fun. And then when we open up, we have a spot to write our sentiment. So love these fun, different takes on basic card designs. And now we're going to make one. So let's get these out of the way. Yes, Krista, you're right. It is easel. I know, I caught myself eventually. Sometimes my mouth just goes and I'm not really thinking clearly. All right. Hi, April. Welcome. All right, so here is the card we're going to make. It features that beautiful fringe rainbow DSP. So let me show you how that works. So I have to start my card base. It is Lemon Lime Twist, so new color. It is cut to 5.5 by 7.5. Okay, so I've cut an inch off one end. It's still scored at 4.25. So when I fold this in half, I'll just show you. I end up with my card front that has a bit of a gap there. That's where my fringe is going to go. Okay. Now I also have a piece of the DSP. It is cut to 3. Is it 3? Yes. 3 by 5.25. It's got the confetti on the back, but I love that Azure afternoon wash. And then here is my fun little fringe. So this has been run through, just one pass through the die cutting machine. Perfect fringe. I cut this strip to 1 inch, okay, and then I had my die hanging off the edge a little bit when I ran it through, and that gave me a perfect fringe, okay? So it also gives me a little spot for adhesive. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to add a little bit of tape along one edge, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue my fringe to my DSP here. Hopefully straight and hopefully not sticking it to my grid paper. There we go. Okay. And then that is going to get stuck onto the front of my card. But before we do that, we're going to do a little stamping on here. So I have this cute little, nope, that's not the one. My cute little confetti stamp and my Azure Afternoon ink pad. And we're going to stamp some confetti just sort of here and there. Keeping in mind that my balloons are going to kind of cover most of the center here, so I'm kind of keeping my stamping towards the edges. And then we're going to go ahead and stick that onto the front of our card. So I'm going to add a little liquid glue here. And we're going to pop this on right about there. Looks good. Hopefully straight. Okay, so that forms the front of our card. All right, now I got a whole bunch of die cuts. So all I did is I ran the open dies through up on a bunch of different patterns of DSP. I cut out a whole ton of balloons just to play with when I was designing projects, and it gave me a whole bunch of different patterns and sizes to play with. It's a great way to design with a new suite when you're playing with different sizes of dies. So we're going to go ahead and arrange these. So we've got stars. We have, oh, we need to do some stamping too. Let's stamp on our 2 lighter colored balloons. We're going to stamp Yay You and You Did It. We're just going to stamp it in black. So we'll put You Did It on our bubble bath. And we're going to add Yay You, and I want to make sure I stamp this one towards the top because we're only going to see the top part of this balloon and our arrangement there. All right, now let's arrange some balloons. So we've got stars, we've got navy, we've got our Yay You, we've got, what do we got? You Did It. We've got more stars. So I'm just kind of arranging these, keeping in mind that my sentiment is going to run across here, so I don't want it to cover my sentiments here, okay, on my balloons. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue these on. I'm going to kind of leave them sitting where they are and just kind of arrange them and tuck them in as I go. So there's one, and we'll do this guy. I'm not using a ton of glue because I'm going to be tucking stars in and around, and I want to be able to get them in behind as I go here. So there's yay you. And then we'll add this guy. And this guy. There we go. All right, now I've got some stars. There are 2 different sizes of stars, dies included. These are just cut from Lemon Lolly DSP. So I'm just going to take and tuck these kind of in and amongst my balloons here. I'm going to wait to put the one small one on after I do my sentiment, so I get it placed so it doesn't end up being covered. So we're going to leave those, and then we're going to work on our sentiment. So I'm going to set this aside. I have here a 3/4 inch wide strip of just scrap white DSP or cardstock. And then I have my, I think it's time for a celebration stamp. So we're going to ink that up, and I'm just going to stamp this. I'm going to do it towards one end just to make it a little bit easier. And then I have my handy dandy banner punch here. So we're going to punch one end with the banner punch, and I honestly always use this upside down because I like to see to make sure that my piece is in straight. Okay, then I'm just going to take and trim this. I'm going to leave a little bit more room on this end because I'm going to add my bow. So again, I'm going to slide this in, make sure it's centered, and punch. And there is my little banner. And then I have to find my ribbon. It is in another kit because I'm using it on another card. So this is a fun new ribbon. It actually comes in a duo pack. It's Lemon Lime Twist and Petal Pink, I believe. This is only 1/8 of an inch wide, so it's nice, narrow ribbon. It almost, you kind of have to use it like you would use twine. It's quite a narrow ribbon. Doesn't have a ton of presence, but certainly more than baker's twine. So I'm just going to add a little bit to my banner here. Wrap that around. And then I'm going to take and tie a wee bow. So the big thing with this ribbon, with narrow ribbon, is you want to just make sure that your ribbon doesn't twist as you're tying. It's easy to twist it accidentally, like I did right there. Do you see that? We'll fix that. There we go. And then we'll trim our tails. And add a glue dot. And then that is going to go onto our banner, just sort of at the top there, on a bit of a jaunty angle, like that. Okay, so we're going to add a dimensional there. Oh, the fringe is very much fun, Jean. Oops, see, I should not talk and stamp or apply adhesive at the same time. I almost put adhesive where I shouldn't. So I just want to make sure I'm not going to put adhesive where it's going to overlap the fringe, which I almost did. Okay. But yes, this fringe die, I am seeing so many possibilities. Think fringe with the Taco Fiesta stamp set. So many fun piñata possibilities with that one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and lay our banner across there. Okay, and then the last step is to just add our last little star. So it's going to kind of tuck in here. What I actually ended up doing was cutting off one point on the star so that I could easily tuck it in behind my banner without getting in the way of the dimensionals that I use. So we're just going to tuck that in there. Okay, and then we're going to add our white panel. Now, this is going to be on the inside. And what I want to make sure is that it frames my fringe nicely. And that looks pretty good. So I'm actually going to take this and open it. And then I'm going to apply my adhesive. A little bit more there, and then I'm going to close it. And that should leave me with a nicely aligned inner panel. There we go. Okay, once I've got that in place, then I burnish it, and we're good to go. Okay, so cute little take on a standard card, but really highlights that fun fringe die cut. Okay, so there you go. There is the Bright and Beautiful suite. Let me just clean up my mess here a little bit, and we are going to move on, because I got lots more to show you. Get some stuff out of the way here. All right, what's next on my list? Oh, okay. Here we go. Bringing back my catalog. So we're going to talk about a bundle. And that bundle is the Seasonal Branches bundle. So this was one that as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, there's so many possibilities for every season with this stamp set. And so, of course, I had to make some samples to prove that. So I'm going to show you in a minute. But it's found on page 21. The bundle is $72.75 here in Canada. And I am having a great time playing with this one. So let me show you some samples, and then we're going to make one. So, where'd they go? There we go. All right, here's our bundle. When when you open these dies, it looks overwhelming because they're all crammed together on, you know, the little inserts that come in the pack of dies. And I was like, oh, okay. But these are actually individual dies, right? It looks like a lot, but it's really not that bad. These are designed to cut out the stamped images, okay? So we have open dies that cut out the stamp branches, and then we have dies that just cut a branch, okay? We also have flowers and leaves, and then open dies that cut our apple and our flower and our leaf. Okay, so that is the bundle. Let me show you some samples. Where did I put them? There they are. So I mentioned that I had to prove that this was an all-season stamp set. So here we go. Here is a wintry one. There's my cardinal sitting in a winterberry branch. I used the wintry embossing folder with the snowflake pattern in the background. And then here's fall. We're kind of going in reverse seasons here. There's my wild wheat and my copper clay. How perfect is that for a fall color palette? And then we've got summer. Okay, do you notice there's those washes from the daisy paper again? I mentioned that I'm addicted to that paper. I love it. And then here's spring. Okay, so there you go. 4 seasons with the same design, same everything, just changing up the color scheme and the imagery. Okay, so there is 4 ideas for 4 different seasons. And then I decided to put all 4 seasons on one card and made this. So using just die cuts, I didn't use any of the stamped images. These are all die cut branches. And then the little flowers and the leaves, green for summer, yellow for wild wheat for fall, and then bear for winter. More of that daisy DSP embossed with the timber embossing folder. It looks like a piece of wood. It's fantastic. And then the sentiment is from another bundle, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Okay, so lots of possibilities with this sweet bundle, and we're going to make another one. Let me get these out of the way. Oh, I won't put those back in the bag for you. Okay, here is what we're going to make. So this to me is a bit springy because of the blossoms, but love this color palette. So we've got Granny Apple Green, Shaded Spruce, Pebbled Path, and then Bubble Bath. How great is that combo? Love it. All right, so, and some of you who were watching tonight were hanging out for Sunday Stampin' Share with me on Sunday. This is the card that I was making that I couldn't show you. On Sunday. So to start, here is another piece of the Daisy DSP. This is the Pebbled Path wash. And again, I've embossed it using the timber embossing folder, and it's just such a great look. It just looks like bleached wood almost. It's so beautiful. So this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. Not sure if I mentioned that. Here is some of the textured shimmer paper. So this was in the mini catalog that just retired and has carried over to the new catalog. So this is cut to 1.5 by 4. Okay, I will put all of the measurements for all the parts and pieces for all of the projects I make tonight up. Probably not tonight. I will probably put them up tomorrow. It has been a long day today. Still recovering from COVID and getting ready for our year-end concert coming up on Thursday. So it's been a little hectic. Now this is not quite the right width, so I'm going to just trim this a little. Grab my trusty guillotine, and we're just going to take a smidge off the edge of that to clean that up. All right, so there is our background. That is going to get layered on a piece of Shaded Spruce cardstock. So this is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. Now I am going to add my adhesive to my cardstock just because that DSP is embossed, and I don't want to rip it with my seal. So we're going to go ahead and lay that down on there. Okay. And then we're going to add some Pebbled Path ribbon. So we're going to pull in my in color ribbon, grab a couple of glue dots here. So one here. That green shimmer paper is super versatile, Sharon. I love it. And I actually have used the green more than any of the other colors. There's white and balmy blue in that same pack, and I've actually used the green more than anything. And I think at Christmas it's going to be beautiful. I'm looking forward to using it for Christmas projects. All right, so there we go. Okay, now that is going to get adhered to a Granny Apple Green card base. 4 1/4 by 11, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll fold that in half along our score line. And add a bit of adhesive. And we're going to pop that on. And look at how the Granny Apple Green just makes it all pop. I just love the way it just brings the whole thing to life there. All right, now we're going to work on our focal image. So I have here a die cut. This is a new set of dies that you're going to see in a little bit. Nesting label dies. And I've cut this from basic white cardstock. And we are going to do a little bit of ink blending using Granny Apple Green and Shaded Spruce. So we're going to start with the Granny Apple. I'm going to apply a little bit of Granny Apple all over the entire panel here. And of course you can make this as dark or as light as you like. I'm going to go a little bit lighter probably than I did on my sample, just in the interest of time. So the large blending brushes, people have asked me if I have the large ones, do I need the small ones? The simple answer is no, except the small blending brushes are really handy for getting, or for inking detailed images. So if you're trying to, for example, use a blending brush to ink a flower, they are much easier to control where the ink goes. The large ones are great for blending backgrounds, like I'm doing here, but the small ones are great for more detailed or smaller areas. So that's my little answer to that question. So let's bring in now a little bit of Shaded Spruce. And with this, I'm just going to go around the edges. I just want to darken around the edges. I'm not adding a ton of ink as I come around here, but just enough to kind of make the edges pop a little bit and provide a bit of contrast. Okay, so there's my background. Super simple, just a little bit of ink blending. And then we're going to come in with our leaf stamp and actually first we're going to stamp our branch. I almost forgot to do my branch. So I'm going to stamp my branch in Pebble Path. There's 2 sizes of branches in this set. I'm using the larger one. So I'm going to do one kind of coming on from the left side, and then another one a little bit shorter coming on from the right, just like that. And then we are going to stamp our leaves. So I'm going to bring in my Shaded Spruce. I love the small blending brushes too, Heather. In fact, I tend to grab them more often than my large ones now. Not that I don't love my large ones, don't get me wrong, but if I had a choice to get one or the other, I probably would get the small ones just because they're a little bit more versatile. Okay, so there is my one branch, and I should have stamped my other one a little bit higher. We're going to have some overlap here. I'm actually going to see if I can finagle this so that they don't overlap too much. Oh, that's not bad. There we go. All right, now we're going to come in with our Granny Apple Green, our dark Granny Apple Green Stampin' Blends, and we're going to just shade in our leaves. So I'm not taking a ton of time. I'm not doing any shading or blending here. I'm literally just coloring these. And I think I'm going to have to use my bullet tip because my brush tip has kind of had it. It might be time for some new Granny Apple Green blends. So I'm just quickly coloring in my leaves. And I'm not going to worry about these guys right near the edge because we're not even going to see them. They're going to be hidden by our label. So I'm just going to color the ones that are actually visible on my finished product. And you'll see that the Shaded Spruce ink does not run when I use my Stampin' Blend. So it is another one of those classic inks. There are a few that work with our Stampin' Blends without bleeding or running. The official word is that you need to use Memento black ink when using our Stampin' Blends, but there are several classic inks, basic gray being another one, that you can use with your blends without them running. Okay, best way to test it is to just stamp with a bunch of different colors and use your blends and see which ones work and which ones don't. That's my best advice. That's how I figured it out. But yeah, the shaded spruce works quite nicely. I'm just going to do a little bit on this leaf here. And that should be good. Okay, so there's our background. Now that is going to get glued onto our card base. Right about there. Okay, so I'm just going to add some seal to the back of my label. Oh yeah, Jean, I hear you. I've heard that from a few people that had already gone ahead and bought blending brushes from other brands. Stampin' Up! Likes to take their time in product development. That is, not that that's a bad thing, but sometimes it can get a little frustrating when things don't come out as quickly as we would like them to. But yeah, I get it. But you still have great blending brushes to use, so it's okay, right? All right, so we're going to stamp our sentiment. This is another this one is a 2-inch circle. We're going to stamp our sentiment in Pebbled Path ink. Don't want to lose my little flowers there. So I'm going to ink that up and just stamp it centered on my circle here. Okay. And then I'm going to come back with my leaf stamp, but I'm not going to stamp it full strength. I'm going to ink it up. And I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to kind of stamp on my label like that. Okay. Then I'm going to come in with my light Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to color the leaves with the light. So it just gives a little bit of a faded look, so it doesn't distract too much from the sentiment, but still adds a little pop of color on my sentiment label. So I'm just adding a quick little bit of color here. These leaves are super quick to color. There we go. And then that is going to get adhered to a 2-inch, is it 2 inches? No, it's 2 3/8 inches circle in Pebbled Path. So we're going to go ahead and glue that on. There we go. And then that is going to get popped up on the front of my card. It's going to overlap my label. Oh, thanks, Jean. I'm glad you like it. I have to say, it was a little bit of a flurry of creativity. It took me a while to get my mojo working on the weekend. I was starting to stress. I thought I'd kind of completely lost my creative spark after being away from it for so long. But once I got going with the new ink colors, that kind of got me going and got me moving with the creativity. So then we have some of our cute little flower die cuts. These are die cut from just a scrap of that Bright and Beautiful DSP. So I'm going to just take and stick them onto a glue dot each. I use this trick all the time when I have little bitty pieces to stick down. And then just grab them with my take your pick. And we're just going to tuck them wherever we want them on the front of our card here. So I'll put one there and another one down here. And then I had, where are they? My adhesive back sequins, my pastel sequins carried over. There's more of these sequins in the new catalog. So excited. Can't wait to get my hands on all of them. And we're going to add these, a couple of these, to the front of our card as well. Okay, and then I added, I don't have my white baker's twine over here, but I'll just show you. I just added a little bow that I tied around my ribbon that I had applied. I didn't want a bulky bow, so I didn't want to use the ribbon, but adding that little baker's twine bow is just a cute little touch. Okay, on the inside, I just stamped some more, did a little more blending, and there we go. Pretty card, right? So seasonal branches, super versatile, lots of different possible occasions, different seasons. You can also use different sentiments, like if you want to say Merry Christmas, you can easily pull out a Christmas card with this bundle. All right. Okay, let's move on. What's next on my list? Where are we here? Oh, we're going to another bundle. All right, where are we? Circle sayings. So you see me use this 2 3/8 circle. The punches I've already punched out. You're going to see this in action in just a minute. But this is our circle sayings bundle. It's another Million Sellers stamp set by Jessica Taylor, whom actually was our table mate on the Greek Isles cruise. She's lovely. And this is her million sellers. And I love that she did a punched base bundle. So I'm going to show you this. We're going to make another card, show you some samples, and away we go. All right. It is on page 17. And this 2 3/8 inch circle punch is not one we've ever offered. It's a brand new size. Okay. All right. So let's get that out of the way. We're going to bring in our bundle. So here we go. One of the nice things about a punch bundle is that they're a little bit more economically priced. Punch bundles tend to be about $10 to $15 less than die-based bundles. So this is a great size circle. It coordinates with the online exclusive circle punches that are in the online store. Okay. And then of course we've got lots of sentiments and images that fit inside the 2 3/8 circle. So let me show you some samples and then we're going to make another one. So here is a pretty, so here's my bubble bath. I tried to use as many new colors as I could. Oh, you ordered it today, did you, Terry? Deb just ordered it. Julie, okay, it's a popular one. Let's hope that the punch doesn't go out of stock. So here we go. The other nice thing I should mention is this 2 3/8 circle layers beautifully on the second largest circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. You get that little bit of stitching detail showing, and it's just really, really pretty. So here I've used some of the beautiful, Bright and Beautiful DSP in the Bubble Bath and Fresh Freesia. I've layered with Fresh Freesia. The only color I didn't use from that awesome purple combination was the Highland Heather. I want it to be a little bit lighter. I've used a little bit of the Organdy Ribbon. That has also moved to an online exclusive. It's not in the catalog, but you can still get it in the online store. And then there's some more of my Pastel Adhesive Bag Sequins. But how pretty is that card? Such a soft and pretty birthday card. And then there is the inside. So there's one. Here is another one. Great masculine card. I think I'm going to give this to my son. He's in another show. And opening night is actually the day before we leave for Norway. So we're only going to see one of his performances. His closing night is when we're gone. But I'm going to leave this card for him to find after his show closes. I think it'll be fun. So love this waves image. Fun to color with my Stampin' blends. Used another one of the images, so the seashells here along the edge to give myself a little bit of a border. Okay, and then I used it again on the inside. So there's that one. And then similar kind of vibe, sending you a warm hello. There's Pretty Peacock again. You're going to see that color a lot from me. Used the seashells this time and colored sort of like a little bit of a water scene. And then again, used that same image for my background on my card. And then again on the inside. So there's 3 ideas. Now we're going to make one. Now, normally I have lots more samples to show. I just have to confess that because I was sick, I just did not have time to make as many samples as I usually show. So I apologize if you showed up to see, hundreds of samples. I don't have hundreds of samples this time. All right, so here we go. This is the card we're going to make. Again, really fun birthday card. I think the cupcake image is my favorite one from this stamp set. So let me show you how that one's done. So we're going to start with our background. So this is another piece of that Bright and Beautiful DSP. This DSP is so versatile, right? We don't need, it doesn't necessarily only work with the balloons. It works with everything. It's a great, the washes on the back are so versatile that you can use with so many different sentiments and images. All right, so we're going to stamp our cupcake in Lemon Lime Twist on our Lemon Lime Twist wash. So I'm going to just ink up my little cupcake here. And we're going to kind of have it so they're falling from the sky. It's raining cupcakes. Wouldn't that be nice? And I'll add one more up here. Okay, so that is all there is to that. Super easy. And then we have another little strip of the Berry Burst. So it's got like the solid on the back, but I like the stripe. This is cut to 1 3/4 by 4. So we're going to stick that guy on. Oops, got a dimensional backing in there. Oh, thanks, Jean. Yeah, like I said, once I got going, what I find is if I can sit and just create for like a day, a full day or 2, the ideas just keep coming, right? It's when I have limited time and only have like an hour here or there, or I'm sick for 2 weeks and do nothing, that I find that I really struggle with designing and coming up with ideas. So we're going to use some more of this lemon lime twist ribbon. I'm going to use a double just because I wanted it to have a little bit more presence. So we're going to put 2 pieces on. We'll go 1 and another one. They're about, I don't know, half an inch, no, not even, quarter of an inch apart. Just gives it a little bit more oomph, a little more presence on my card here. So we're gonna pop that on. Yeah, Kathy, you find that too, eh? So being able to just sit and create for a period of time, yeah, that's the way to really get your, that's why retreats are so great to do, right? So to be able to go away on a crafting retreat for a weekend, you can kind of get it going. All right, so we're going to layer this on a piece of Berry Burst cardstock. It is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and layer that just like that. Okay, and then that is going to get glued onto a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of thick basic white cardstock, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll fold that in half along our score line and add a little glue. A crafting cruise would be lovely. There are so many things I want to do when I retire. I got 2 more years and oh, the possibilities are endless. I will have no problem filling my time. All right, so I have some a piece of white cardstock here. We're going to do a bit of stamping and some punching. So I'm going to start by stamping my Celebrate image in the lemon lime twist. So I'm going to stamp it near an edge because I'm going to punch it out as soon as I figure out what I do with my punch. There it is. So we're just going to center that and punch it out. Oh, is that the right size? Now I'm questioning. Yeah, I think it is. There we go. So that is going to get layered on a Berry Burst circle. So this is 2 3/8. This is 2 1/2 inches. So we're going to have just a bit of a border. Pop that on real quick. And then we're going to come in with our cupcake. Let's just make sure that that's centered because it's not right now. There we go. My Memento black ink. I am going to stamp it in the black this time. I'm just going to stamp off my cupcake. And we're going to stamp this just on the white cardstock. And do a little bit of color in with our blends. So you're going to see the lemon lime twist and berry burst blends. Berry burst blends. Try saying that 10 times fast. So we're going to color our icing with starting with the light. So this goes pretty quickly. So I'm coloring the whole thing with my light. And then I'm going to come in with the dark and just add a little bit of shadow sort of along the layers of the icing and then along the bottom edge. And then come back with my light and blend that out a little bit. Okay, quick and easy. Then I'm going to color the actual cupcake with my crumb cake, light crumb cake. I'm going to use my bullet tip just so I can get right in there. Okay, this is clearly a vanilla cupcake. Making me hungry. And then I'm going to use my light lemon lime twist. I'm going to start along the bottom. So I'm not coloring the whole thing. Do you notice that? Then I'm going to come in with my dark. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to add a little bit more darker along the bottom. And then I'm going to come back and just fill in some of the gaps with the light. I am not coloring all the way up to the top. I kind of wanted it to have a little bit of a crinkle look. So there is my cupcake. And then, as soon as I find my scissors, we're going to fussy cut. Where'd they go? Where are you, skizzles? There they are. They're hiding underneath my sequins. So we're going to fussy cut this guy out. Also not difficult. So even if you are not a fan of fussy cutting, this is a pretty easy image to to fussy cut. Somebody asked me why there weren't dies for this, but it's a punch bundle, right? So that's why there are no dies. So we're just going to quickly cut this guy out. There we go. And then we're going to add a couple dimensionals. A 1 and a 2. And then that is going to go on our circle here. Just like that. And then that is going to get popped up on the front of our card. So yes, this is double popped. I am notorious for double popping. The mail people love me. I can honestly say I've never had anything returned on me. I usually get away with it. I just throw it in the mailbox with a stamp on it. I'm usually pretty good. All right, we're going to add a bow. Oh, I'm seeing lots of likes and hearts. I'm glad you guys like this one. And if you think, like, totally, you could case this exact same layout, use a different color scheme, and do a masculine birthday card, right? So many possibilities with a cupcake image, right? I mean, men like cupcakes too. Ask my husband. He usually eats them faster than I do. And often in one bite. So yeah, men certainly, this would totally work for a masculine card. And then I actually used, do you remember these? These were from the annual catalog last year. They carried over. They're the polished dots from last year. And these are actually Melon Mambo, but they are so close to Berry Burst that you can totally get away with using them. So here we go. We're going to add some Melon Mambo dots, and they actually are pretty close to our Berry Burst. And there we go. You like that one? Now on the inside, I stamped Happy Birthday and stamped another cupcake. I'm not going to take time to do that now, but there you go. Okay. Again, quick, easy, no muss, no fuss. Little bit of fussy cutting, but nothing too terribly arduous with the Circle Savings stamp set. Okay. All right. Let's carry on. How are we doing for time? 8:20. All right. I got 10 minutes. My goal is to be done by 8:30, so we'll see how we do. I got 2 more make and takes. I don't think I'm going to make it. All right, let's move on. We've done Bright and Beautiful. Let's get rid of that sticky. And we did Circle Sayings. What is next on my list? Countryside Inn. Oh, I got lots to show you with this one. All right. So Countryside Inn is a gorgeous suite in the catalog. Now, I've had lots of questions about this stamp and how it coordinates with the dies. So I'm going to show you in a minute what the stamp looks like, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. But this is the layout in the catalog. It's on page 63. Okay, so we have the DSP, we have the Stamp and Die bundle, and we have an embossing folder, which I'll show you in a second. But then there is also, if you turn the page, the Lasting Joy stamp set coordinates with this DSP. That's not entirely obvious. If you look at the samples here, you'll see a lot of the stamped florals and greenery are from that set. They coordinate, okay? But it's not super obvious the way it's shown in the catalog. So I just want to clarify, there is an actual stamp set with images and sentiments that coordinates with this suite, and it is on the next page, Lasting Joy, okay? Another bundle that I've used a ton with this suite is this one, Wonderful Thoughts. So if you recall the Charming Sentiments bundle from last year's catalog, that one carried over into this one as well. This is along the same line. So we have our sentiments, and then we have dies that die cut the sentiments. So it's fussy cut sentiments without the fussy cutting, right? It's a great look. Love that look, and this makes it so easy. The big difference is that these fonts are a little bit more classical. The other fonts in the Charming Sentiments are a little bit funkier, a little bit more modern. So depending on the style you're going for, both have their place in your craft room. So that is another bundle that I use a ton. So let me show you the products in real life. Just have to grab them. Okay, so let's start with the bundle that's at the center of all this controversy. So here are the dies. I have already used these dies a ton. You've seen them on a couple projects tonight already. Nesting dies that cut that sort of, what is that, an octagon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're octagons, elongated octagons. And then this is the stamp. So the stamp is a single stamp. Okay, so you ink it and stamp it once, and then you can lay all of these dies on and cut them all the frames out at once, or you can cut them as you need. Okay, I did both. and both work. You just are going to want to make sure you secure those dies in place so that they don't move on you as you're running it through the machine. Okay. Now, people have said, well, what if I just want a label with that outer border without all of that? Well, what you do is you ink it with your Stampin' marker. Okay. Or you die cut the next smaller size, you lay it on as a mask, and then you ink and then take your mask off. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate that in a live coming up, but I just wanted to sort of put to rest some of the concern that you can totally use just one part of the image without having to like cut apart the stamp or jump through a whole lot of hoops to be able to make that work. Okay, so that is the bundle. Okay, and then I mentioned we have the Lasting Joy stamp set. It's a standalone stamp set, does not have dies, but these images coordinate with the paper I'm going to show you in a second. And how beautiful are the fonts in this set. Love that scripty font. And then I also mentioned the Wonderful Thoughts bundle. So let me get these out of the way. This is not an officially coordinating bundle with the stamp set, but I have found I've used it with it a lot. So there are our sentiments, and the dies look so strange. Like, what the heck do you do with that die? Well, it's to cut that particular sentiment. And actually, I have found having this long, narrow die works with a few sentiments that I don't have a long enough die for. So it's actually come in handy with other stamp sentiments as well. Okay, this little bitty one fits thanks. Okay, so all of these coordinate with a particular sentiment in the stamp set. Okay, and we also have this pretty little flower. You're going to see that in action in a second as well. Okay, so the three possible uses or three possible products that coordinate with this gorgeous DSP that I'm going to show you right now. So here we go. So we have beautiful sort of country, reminds me of Laura Ashley patterns from when I was growing up. All in shades of blue. So we've got Night of Navy, Misty Moonlight, Boho Blue, and Balmy Blue all in this. So if you like blues, this is your paper. So we've got a floral. We've got these adorable little bunnies. We've got little foxes. We've got partridges in a pear tree or birds. We've got a forest for the animals to frolic in. And then we have this beautiful brocade. And then when we flip over, we have slightly more subtle patterns. So we've got a stripe. This is a floral, but it kind of reads as a stripe. We've got just a pinstripe, a little bit of a brocade, a little bit wider stripe, and then another sort of floral stripe. So a little bit more subdued patterns on the back. They work really well together. So having a more subdued pattern as your background and then the busier patterns as your focal image. So that is the gorgeous paper. Now I do want to mention that this embossing folder, the Countryside Blossoms embossing folder, actually coordinates with this pattern of DSP. So, and I'm going to show you a card where I did it, but you can actually line up. I'll see if I can do it here. There we go. Line up the pattern on the embossing folder with the pattern on the DSP. So you would cut your 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel and line this up and you run it through and then your pattern is raised. I'll show you a project in a sec. But how cool is that Stampin' Up! Did that? Okay, I love that they did that. And I was so happy to discover that was something that actually worked. So Countryside Blossoms embossing folder. This is just a standard folder. Okay, it's not a 3D. So you don't need the special plate, just your regular platform and plates. Okay, so there's your paper. Let me show you a few projects. I went a little crazy with this suite. So here is one. So there is an example of that Wonderful Thoughts bundle. So I heat embossed the sentiment in white, and then there is that pretty flower from the same die set, and then there is one of the frames. So the frame I also heat embossed in white on navy, and I just love the way the stitching just pops on that frame. So there's one. Here's another one. So use one of the more subdued patterns of DSP. This time I used the Lasting, what's it called? Lasting, I've already forgotten. Lasting, what? Lasting Thoughts? Lasting something. Lasting Joy. There we go. I used that stamp set for my sentiment and my images, and then there's my flowers again from the same die set. This time cut from some of the Boho Blue shimmery textured paper. And then here is that beautiful embossing folder just in white. And it works so beautifully with that Circle Singing stamp set. I used a little bit of the DSP and some of that beautiful ribbon for a really simple thank you card. here is that embossing folder in action with the DSP. So I'm not sure, you probably can't tell on the camera, but this is actually the pattern on the paper is raised. Okay, it's textured because I ran it through with the embossing folder. So did the background, and then I also embossed my circle here. And again, there's that pretty flower die, this time using the white textured shimmer paper and a little bit more of the striped DSP. Here's another one. So a little bit busier background, so I went with a more subdued focal image. So again, there's our paper, there's that embossed. So all I did is I embossed that whole stamp image once on navy cardstock, and then just die cut out each of the frames and use them. I still have several left over to use on future projects. Okay, and then here's a cute little book fold. So I thought it would be cute to use the bunnies for a book fold, like a storybook. So we have our little bunnies with a vertical book fold. Super cute. Okay, so there's some ideas with that one. We're going to make one, so let's get these out of the way. Yeah, the shades of blue are absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. Terry, another fit. Yeah, there's a few sets that work with this suite, but if you like the paper, you're gonna definitely want to get something that coordinates. The Lasting Joy one is the one that most obviously coordinates, so if you can only get one, that's the one that I would get. All right, we're gonna make this one simple, but it does use some images from the Lasting Joy, and it uses a few shades of blue. So let's pull that out. I'm gonna start with our focal image here. So this is another one of those labels. Okay, lots of different sizes here, but we're going to stamp on our white one to start. I'm using 3 different shades of blue. So Boho Blue, Misty Moonlight, and Night of Navy. I'm going to start with my Boho Blue, and I'm going to stamp the large flower from the Lasting Joy stamp set. I'm going to stamp it a few times around my label. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much. Well, I'll do a little bit over here. I'm going to cut part of that off, but that's okay. We'll fill it in anyway. All right, and then I'm going to come in with this, which one is it? This little guy. It's a little bitty flower. I'm actually going to fill in the center of my large flower here with Misty Moonlight. So I'm not using the best block for this. I ran out of small blocks, so I have to be really careful to make sure I get the full image as I'm stamping here. Which means stamping and talking are a bad idea. There we go. See, I didn't even get them centered, but that's okay. And then we're going to use the same ink with another little bitty flower. Actually, we're going to stamp our leaves first. We're going to stamp our leaves using Night of Navy. Yes, Joyce, this is recorded, and I will post the recording on my YouTube channel probably tomorrow. I don't think I will have the energy when I'm done to post it yet tonight, but it will be up tomorrow. But the replay will be available here on Facebook as well. So if you want to watch it back before I get it up on YouTube, it will be here on my Facebook page forever. If you just click on the videos tab at the top of this page, you will find it. All right, so there is my navy. Now I'm going to come in with this other little bitty flower, again with the Misty Moonlight. And we're going to add just a few of these little guys in and around. Oops, see, this is why we use the right block. We have to take care to get a full image. We'll put one more over here. And maybe one over here. There we go. All right, and then we're going to stamp our sentiment. Our sentiment is in Night of Navy. So we'll bring back our navy ink. Oh, that's not a bad ETA there, Louise. May 8th? That's next Monday, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. So we're going to stamp our birthday wishes. I'm going to stamp it a little bit towards the left side because we are going to cut a little bit of this off. So I'm going to go ahead now and frame my sentiment with this die cut frame, again, in heat embossed in white on navy cardstock. So we're going to go ahead and glue that on. The voice is wearing thin, girls. I may not have a voice for work tomorrow. We'll see what happens. We'll stick this guy on, hopefully straight. And then I'm just going to bring in my trimmer. And we're going to trim down. I'm going to trim it to about 3 inches. Just give that a chop. Okay. All right, so now we're going to take our background panel. So this is 4 by 5 1/4 inches, more of that beautiful floral. And this one is what? 1 1/4 by 4. So we're going to stick that down. A little bit of seal. And it's going to go on, I don't know, 1.5 inches up from the bottom or so. Okay. Then we're going to use some of this gorgeous ribbon that carried over from the mini. Love this ribbon. I was so excited that it carried over. It's such pretty, pretty ribbon. So we're going to add a little bit across the front of our panel here. Oh, Sharon, I have used so much sick time. Never in my career have I ever used all of my sick days in a single year. That ended this year. I have used all of my sick days and then some. Yeah, I have missed a lot of time. So I kind of have to power through, unless of course I lose my voice completely, in which case it's kind of hard to teach. Now I did want to mention, I'm going to be lining up this strip with this little section here. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of center that, just see how I'm sort of lining that up so that it goes right through the middle. Like that. Okay, then that is going to get glued onto my 5.5 by 8.5 inch card base, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we will fold that in half and then add a little bit of glue. We're going to pop that on right about there. Okay, and then we're going to add a pretty little bow with this same ribbon. One of the things I love most about this ribbon is that it makes such pretty bows. So we'll do our bunny ear trick. And the ribbon looks like it's quite bulky, but it really isn't. It looks like linen, but it's not. It's got the same texture, but it's a little bit softer. And you can get a nice tight knot from your bow. And we'll just grab a glue dot and pop that on right about there. Just like that. Isn't that a pretty little birthday card? DSP does all the work, but you see how those beautiful images from the Lasting Joy stamp set coordinate perfectly. Okay. On the inside of my sample, I just did a few more of the same images that I used on my focal image. Okay. So there we go. That is card number 5. Make it take number 5. Okay, we got one more to go. Have I covered? Yep. All right. I'm saving the best for last because I got to tell you, this bundle is one that is going to get so much love. I had to actually stop myself from playing with it. I was staying up far too late on Sunday night playing with this bundle. It was the last one that I got to as I was doing my prep. And oh my goodness, it's a good thing I didn't start with it because all you would see are samples using this bundle. The Crafting for You bundle. It is so much fun and every crafter should have it as soon as I find it. Crafting with You. Page 91, another million seller stamp set. This is Irene Wenlant. Don't know Irene, but man, does she make a really cute stamp set and coordinating dies. The dies for me are what do it. Okay, the stamps are cute, but oh, wait till you see the dies. So let me show you. So stamps. Who does not need a cut and emboss stamp? Like seriously, how cute is that? Love that they included that. We've got lots of different crafting images, a sewing machine, paintbrushes, an easel, basket for our yarn, lots of possibilities, and then some fun crafty sentiments, sending you a handmade hug. Who does not want a handmade hug? Life is better when you're crafting. Such an awesome set. But oh my, so we have our dies that cut out the open dies that cut out the stamped images, but it is the additional dies that for me put this bundle over the top. We have a die that cuts a paper trimmer. Oh my goodness, so cute. I will show you some samples. We have fantastic scissors. We have a ruler. We have an embroidery hoop. We have a basket. We have spools and thread to go on the spools. We've got some bitty buttons, hearts and stars, and oh, so much cuteness. Now, let me show you some projects and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, you ready for these? Okay, we'll start with the least cute. I just think this is pretty. Before I got into stamping, I was big into cross stitch and stitchery. So I love anything to do with an embroidery hoop. I actually use embroidery hoops for decor projects. So love this. There is our Moody Mauve, and how perfect is it with crumb cake? It's a great earthy tone. So I made my little embroidery hoop and stamped my image, did a little bit of ombre stamping, so inked my image with some sponge daubers and added my little sentiment. Super simple, but so cute. And then we have our cut and emboss. This is the Stamper's card. Okay, so we've got our boho blue mini machine, which by the way is now available for purchase. Limited quantities available, but you can actually purchase yourself a boho blue mini machine. We have our paper trimmer. Look how cute this is. So fun. Some spools of thread, some buttons. Look at, there's my paper snips. See, I made myself some paper snips. Of course, it's cutting a little bit of boho blue ribbon. And let's just take a minute and notice how fantastic a color palette boho blue and lemon lolly is. Ah, love it. I'm going to be using that a lot. And Pebbled Path is almost the exact same color of our paper trimmer. Just saying. Okay, so there is super cute. And then here's another one, different color palette. But again, there's our sweet little paper trimmer in all its glory. A ruler, another pair of paper snips, some spools of thread, some bling, because, you know, every crafter needs bling, right? And how great a color palette is Pebbled Path and Blackberry Bliss. Loving that one too. All right, so there's 3 ideas. We're going to make another one. So I'm going to set these aside. Did I cut the hoop twice? Yes, I did, Deb. So I cut just that little bit. And I used some adhesive sheets on just a little scrap of gold so that I didn't have to fuss with liquid glue, because who wants to do that? So yeah, just cut that little bit out of gold and layered it onto the crumb cake. Okay. Good question though. All right, here we go. Last make and take for the night. We are going to make this fun one. So as you can see, I really like that combo of Berry Burst and Pebbled Path. It's such a nice fresh palette for me. So we're going to make this one. Pull out my bits here. So we're starting with a piece of basic white cardstock, 4x5 1/4, and I've used one of the basics embossing folders from the online essentials, or online exclusives, I should say, to emboss my background. So this, I think it's called Hobnail Glass, is this pattern. But it works so beautifully with the polka dot pattern in the In Color DSP. So this is cut to 5 1/4 by 2 inches. So we're going to go ahead and layer those. Oh yes, Kathy, it absolutely is a must-have. Every crafter should have this bundle, I'm telling you. Like, it is a fantastic bundle, and like I said, it is going to be getting lots and lots of love, and it is never ever leaving my studio, even when it retires. So cute. All right, so there is our layer. We're going to go ahead and put that onto our card base. So Pebbled Path cardstock, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So we'll just pop that on. All right, let's get that on there. Okay, we're going to set that aside and we're going to do a little stamping. So I have just a piece of white cardstock that I've die cut using the deckled rectangles. I have to say I am missing my stitched rectangle dies. They were a go-to for me. So now it's all about the deckled rectangles because I just love that extra little bit of detail. Rather than just cutting a plain rectangle, having that little bit of detail on the edge just adds a little something. So I'm going to take and ink up my easel. I'm going to actually take my pad to the stamp because it's a rather large stamp and I don't want to miss part of the image. And I'm going to stamp this towards the top of my rectangle and off the side a little bit because I kind of want it to look like it's kind of in the background. Okay, just like that. Then, get this out of the way. We're going to stamp our flowers. So I have my Berry Burst, and where is my Granny Apple Green? It's somewhere. I used it on a project. I just have to find it. I thought I left it out, but I didn't. Where'd it go? Where are you, Granny Apple? There you are. Nope, that's Parakeet Party. All right, well, we're going to use Parakeet Party because I can't find Granny Apple right now. It's somewhere in the mess that is my studio. Oh, there it is. Found it. All right. Here we go. So to ink up our flowers, I'm going to open up both my Berry Burst and my Granny Apple. I'm going to put my one dauber on one finger and the other on the other. You just want to remember which one is which, okay? So I'm going to take my Berry Burst. I'm going to ink up my flowers. I'm just daubering on a little bit of ink. And then I'm going to take my Granny Apple and ink up my leaves. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp that on my easel. And that gives me my two-tone flower. Okay, I'm going to keep those out. Actually, I'm going to keep that out because I'm going to need them in a sec again. So we'll set these aside for a minute. Then this is going to get layered onto a Berry Burst rectangle. This is cut to 4 1/8 by 2 3/4. So we'll pop that on. And stick her down here. Okay, and then I've already gone ahead and stamped and die cut my basket and my paint brushes. I used the same ombre dauber technique for my brushes because I wanted it to look like they had just painted those flowers. So we're going to go ahead and stick our brushes inside the basket. Okay, and then add a couple dimensionals if I could find them. They are buried. Oh, the mess that is this desk right now, you guys, if you could see it. I think we're going to have to use mini dimensionals because that's all I can find at the moment, which is fine. So we'll just add a couple of these to the back of my paint brushes here. And we're going to pop those on just in that bottom right corner. Okay, and that creates a little bit of perspective, so it brings them into the foreground. So we're going to go ahead and stick that onto the front of our card now. And it's going to be offset, and I know for some of you that will bother you. I know some of you like things nice and centered and symmetrical. I do not. I like them off-center. And then I need to mention this cute little stitch circle is actually cut using that embroidery hoop die. So the center of the embroidery hoop cuts this circle, which is what I'm going to use for my sentiment. So you're getting a bonus circle die in this set that I didn't even know I got until I cut out the embroidery hoop and went, oh, look at that. So I'm going to stamp You Inspire Me in Pebbled Path ink. And then I'm going to bring this little bitty flower and we're going to just apply, I think I can probably get away with whatever ink is on my daubers still. A little bit of Berry Burst and a little bit of Granny Apple. And we're just going to stamp that just at the bottom of our sentiment there. And then that is going to get popped up again with some mini dimensionals. Maybe we'll use an edge. Just in the interest of expediency. So we'll pop those on, get rid of our backings. And then that is going to go on offset a little bit the opposite direction. And there we go. Cute, hey? Again, really easy way to make a crafty card for your crafty friends. So there you go. All right. That is it, girls. I made it. I think I covered everything that I needed to cover. My grid paper is a mess. My craft room is a disaster zone, but I made it and my voice held out. So there we go. Couple of reminders before I go. Host code is here, so you may want to jot this down. This is the link to my online store. If you place your order before the end of the weekend, so by Sunday night, with this host code, you will receive a free embellishment from me from the new annual catalog. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. Thank you for waiting for me for 2 weeks while I recovered from COVID. And I'm going to go not talk for the rest of the evening, so I have a voice tomorrow. And I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Thanks so much. Bye for now.